In this video, we will be talking about Hibernate architecture. Hibernate uses a layered architecture, so where each layer has some specific responsibilities. And the advantage of having a layered architecture is that if there is a change in some layer, let's say one layer, then there will be minimum impact on the other layers of our application. So each layer is responsible for its own tasks, and there are these three layers in the Hibernate architecture: application, framework, and persistence. So the application layer will manage the client code that is accessing the persistent data. The framework will manage the Hibernate framework. It will manage the configurations, it will manage the sessions, session factory objects, and the transaction. And it will allow the application layer to communicate with the underlying layer, which is the database layer, which is also called the persistence layer. So the persistence layer is purely consisting of the database, that is of the persistent data. So this is the architecture of Hibernate. So Hibernate sits here between the application code and the database, and it helps the application code access the database seamlessly. So the application code is the Java code that we have written, and the Java code will use some persistent objects, and Hibernate using the XML mapping or the annotations or and the Hibernate properties. It will manage the configuration, session factory, and session objects and the transaction so that the database can be accessed. Now, for each database, there will be a separate session factory object, as we will see in the coming slides. So the configuration object is the first object that we create in Hibernate, and it is created in any Hibernate application only once. So when we are initializing the application, it will be created at that time, and the configuration will provide two key components. So one component is the database connection, and the other is the mapping of the classes to the database tables. So the database connection can be handled through the configuration files. These files are hibernate.properties and hibernate.cfg.xml, which is configuration XML. And in the class mapping, we will be mapping the class to the table. So we will be basically the Hibernate will read this mapping, and then it will know that this table maps to which class, and so on. The session factory object is the second object that we will create. So the configuration object is used to create the session factory object, and this session factory object is instantiated by reading the Hibernate properties and the Hibernate configuration file. And a session factory object is usually created once for each database. So per database, you will need one session factory object, and it is a heavyweight object. So usually it is created when we start the application, and we keep it ready for use. So whenever we want a session, we can create a session from the session factory object. So basically, as the name suggests, a session factory is used for creating sessions. So that is why the name session factory. Also, it is a thread safe object, so it can be used by multiple threads simultaneously without any concurrency issues. The next is the session object. So a session object will represent the actual connection between the code and the database. It is a lightweight object. So lightweight means it can be instantiated whenever needed, and it can be closed when it is not needed. Also, it is a good practice to uh, create a session object and close it when not needed, because the session object is not thread safe. That is, if multiple threads try to access the same session object at the same time, there might be consistency or concurrency issues. That is why it is a good practice to open a session and close it when not needed. The persistent objects which we will be storing in the database or which we will be retrieving from the database, they are accessed through the session object. Next is the transaction object. So a transaction will represent a unit of work with the database, and most of the relational databases support transaction functionality like creating a transaction, then committing a transaction, roll back a transaction, and so on. So the transactions which we create in Hibernate, these are handled by a transaction manager. Also, it is an optional object. So in your application, you may write a Hibernate application, and you may decide not to use a transaction object, uh, but instead you can manage your transactions on your own. So even that is okay. So it is there is no compulsion to create a transaction object to perform some task on the persistent objects. Next is the query object. Query object will use either SQL or HQL. SQL is structured query language, which we have already seen. It is used to access data from a relational database. It is used to manipulate the data. And HQL is Hibernate query language. So Hibernate query language is a bit similar to SQL, but it is completely object oriented. So SQL does not know the table names or the column names. It will work with the class names and the attributes of those classes. So a query object can be used to bind the parameters of the query and to execute that HQL query. So we will quickly revise what we have just seen. We have seen that these are the four objects that we will be working with in the Hibernate application, out of which configuration is the first object that we will be creating, and it is initialized during the application startup. It contains the configuration information about the database connection and about the class to table mapping. Next is the session factory object. So the session factory is used by all threads, and there is one session factory object per database, which is used to create the session object. So since it is used by all threads, maybe they are accessing the session factory simultaneously. That is why session factory is made so that it is a thread safe object. Next is the session object. The session represents a physical connection with the database. Also, it is not thread safe, and since it is a lightweight object, we can create it as and when required and close it when the connection is not required. And a transaction represents a unit of work. It is used to manage a transaction of an relational database. Also, it is an optional object, so we can even write our Hibernate application without using the transaction object and just by managing the transaction on our own.